From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our community. Now, after hearing this story, I was trying to understand the audacity of some of the Western leaders and their double standards, right? Because just recently, we heard a U.S. General Michael Langley made a bold statement and a deeply hypocritical claim also. He said that China and Russia should leave Africa, accusing them of manipulating Africans for their own interests.
We own the facts. We own the facts. We know exactly what the Chinese Communist Party is doing, and to some degree, what the Russian Federation is doing in their propaganda operations. But we don't own the narrative.
Now, let me tell you something. This statement is rich, coming from a country that has had its own hand in Africa for centuries, exploiting, destabilizing, and dictating terms to us. But China and Russia, according to this general, are a real problem. Now, let me get this straight. According to Langley, the very same nations that are providing real support to African nations, the same countries helping African leaders defend their sovereignty, should just pack up and leave. Now, let's talk about the reality on ground, though. Because in Burkina Faso, President Captain Ibrahim Traore, a man who has faced multiple assassination attempts, and a country that has been under siege by terrorists and Western-backed factions, has found real tangible help from Russia. The Russian special forces are reportedly on ground as we speak, helping the military government defend against terrorist attacks. And do you know what the US has done in response? Well, the US is quietly supporting the opposition in Burkina Faso, trying to weaken Traore's government. And this isn't the first time we've seen such interference. But now, Russia and China are the ones that are blamed for manipulating Africans. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the irony here. Because when the West is involved in Africa, it's called development, it's called aid or partnership. But when countries like Russia and China come in and offer real tangible support to African governments, they are suddenly accused of manipulation. Now, give me a break, honestly. You see, what we are witnessing here is something that many of us in Africa have been talking about for years, which is the hypocrisy of the West. Africa has been the subject to Western economic exploitation, political manipulation, and military interference. So why is it a problem when African nations seek help from China and Russia? I mean, let's break it down, folks, right? Russia has been helping President Traore of Burkina Faso stay in power against all odds and providing military support and offering a balance of power that the West has failed to give African countries. So why is the West upset about that? Well, I believe it's because they don't control the narrative anymore. And it's because Africa is finally starting to look for alliances that benefit us and not just the West's interests. And let's not forget the real reason why the US is making these claims. Because China and Russia are currently challenging the West's monopoly's influence on Africa. And they're offering deals that put African nations in the driver's seat. Whether it's in trade, it's in defense or development, unlike the West, China and Russia aren't making these deals under the gaze of aid, but they're coming to the table as equals and treating African countries as partners. And that, my friends, is the real threat to the West's hold on Africa. And I do believe that the question we need to ask ourselves is, why is it that only African sovereignty is up for negotiation? Why does the West believe it has the right to dictate how we build our future? China and Russia are not here to manipulate us, but they are here because Africa is finally standing up and demanding our interests come first. No more will we be the playground for foreign powers. And if anyone should be leaving Africa, it's the West powers who have been exploiting and destabilizing our nations for centuries. So to China and Russia, thank you for standing with us when others turn their backs. We will no longer accept the notion that we are incapable of managing our own resources and our own future and our own destiny. Africa is for Africans, and no one has the right to dictate our future. Now let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I really want to hear what your thoughts are on this. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again.